Hi there, Santi with santinet.com, and today's topic is domain name, your website address, right? In my last video, we talked about why I think you need a website as a business today, and the three major things that you need to have a website up on the internet, and that's your domain name, your website itself, right, and a platform to edit it and modify it, or if you have a developer doing the work for you, and web hosting. I think I left out web hosting at the end in the last video, but web hosting, okay? So this video, we're gonna cover your domain name, okay? So I wanted to give you a quick note before I forget. When you're trying to select a domain name, write it down on paper, feel it out. I know it sounds kind of funny, right? We're in the digital world, but let me explain why. This is a friend of mine just did his is working on his website, right? And I wrote it down, okay? And it's so long that it doesn't fit on a piece of paper, on a little sticky or a note, right? So to me, if it doesn't fit on one line, that might be a good sign that the domain name is way too long, okay? So his domain name is ericsanchezpatitlecompany.com. Oh wait, actually I forgot a letter. It's ericjsanchezpattitle.com. And I'm picking on Eric here a little bit. I'm sorry about that, Eric. Wish you would have came to me first. But this is a very long domain name. I mean, can you imagine you're in the elevator and you say, oh yeah, come look at my business. It's ericjsanchezpatitlecompany.com. Well, the person's going to forget. You're going to be exhausted from saying your domain name. It's a little long, okay? The good thing is that domain names are so cheap that you can easily get another one, okay? So leave this one out there for, I don't know, marketing or something. But you can easily get another domain name. You can also have a shorter domain name just for your email, for example. But domain names are very affordable. So a domain name is similar to when you register your corporation, right? Every year you have to register it, make sure that it's unique, that nobody has it. And every year you have to renew it, right? Maintain the corporation going. Well, domain name works pretty much the same way. You pay for it. You could pay for it for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, however much you want at a time. And then when it expires, you got to renew it again. And if you don't renew your domain name on time, there's a little time there if it expires a little bit. But for the most part, if you don't renew it, you lose it and somebody else will grab it. In fact, I think that's the same thing that happened now in the last election with George Bush. He didn't renew his domain name, and I think Donald Trump grabbed it. So you don't want that to happen to you because it could have an effect on your business, especially if you built up a good website, okay? Now, domain names, cost-wise, okay? So I love going back in history. 20 years ago, I registered a couple domain names, and back then it was $80 a pop. And one domain name I had registered was thecritics.com. And I never did anything with it, and $80 a year back then was way too much for me, so I let it go. Now I think they're selling that domain name for $20,000. But anyway, that's a whole nother business and another video. Domain names nowadays are about $12 a year. You can find sites that sell them cheaper, $8, $7. Sometimes they have sales where it's like $3, $4 if you renew a couple years at a time. Okay. There's a couple different places where you could get a domain name. There's bulkregister.com, Enom, GoDaddy, Gator, a lot of places, okay? Google recently started as a registrar. That's what you call a company that registers domain names for you. They started recently too. So if you go to google.com/domains, you could get an account there and start registering your domain names for about $12 for a regular domain. And then the new unique domain extensions like .social and .lawyer and things like that, they usually go for a little bit more. So what domain name should you get? Well, I like the traditional. Okay, I think everyone's pretty much gotten used to, like, in their mindset, it's always a .com, right, or a .net. Unless you're a nonprofit, they're used to a .org. If you're education, a .edu, and of course, if you're a government site, a .gov. You can get the other ones. I would try that to be your last. If you can't get a .com or .net, basically, okay, try to get a .com or .net. The other thing too to keep in mind, your domain name doesn't have to be the same as your company address. Okay, some company names are pretty long, like my buddy Eric here. Okay, so for example, maybe, and I'm not saying that it's taken, but maybe Eric could have looked for something like FloridaTitleServices.com, which most likely is taken, or something like that, or GetYourTitlesHere.com. You can get creative with your domain names. Okay, keep in mind that your domain name, you're gonna want to use that for your email addresses too. So right now, Eric's email address is gonna be something like eric@ericjsanchezpa.titlecompany.com. And the problem with an email address that long is there's a very good chance that someone's gonna mess it up. Email's not gonna get delivered. It's gonna bounce back. It could be a real nightmare. Okay, so be creative with your domain name. Doesn't have to be the same as your company name. Okay, go out. You could register it right now. The other thing too to keep in mind, don't check for domain names by just going to a web browser and typing it in. And if a website doesn't come up, you figure, oh, good, it's available. No, it's not. There's a lot of people that their business is to think of good domain names, register them, park them, and sit on them until you come looking for them, and then they charge you a premium for them, which is what they've done with the critics.com right now. What you want to do is you want to go to a registrar. Go to google.com/domains. They'll have a search for domain box. Type in there the domain, and it's going to come back and it's going to say, yes, it's available. No, it's not available. And then some of these registrars actually tell you it's not available. And here's a couple other options you could look into that are similar. Okay, so they'll try to help you find something similar to that. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this video. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you can be notified of my next video. And my next video will probably be on domains. No, I'm sorry, this is on domains. My next video will be on hosting, okay? So till the next video, see you later.